Yo, yo, what up? Happy Thursday. Well, I mean, for some of you, maybe not for a lot. Very choppy. Day after NVIDIA earnings. NVIDIA earnings was yesterday after hours. I feel like I'm seeing what this market is trying to do. It's starting to reveal its hand. But let's dive into this session real quick. We're actually just during lunch of this session. You'll get a really good chance to see live kind of what I mark out as my lunchbox model. So I'm actually gonna go. All right, yeah, we'll make it a different color basically. So we'll make it like orange kind of thing. Anyways, I said many times in the Discord, I can't even count many times. I said wait for the initial balance to break today, specifically today for NVIDIA earnings. Initial balance, what is initial balance? Whenever I say IB or something, whenever you hear someone say the IB, that means initial balance. That is the first hour of trading of the session. So as you can see, here's the IB, and here is it not breaking. So just absolute nightmarish scenario. Why would it do that today? And especially on NQ versus ES. ES has actually broken out of the initial balance. It has a lot more buyers basically overall. Right now, just like look at it, we're like plus 10K. So it is about to pop off. I think it's going to happen here. It's just later in the day. But yeah, why would it do this? Why is it, NVIDIA earnings, that was great. Why is it chopping so much? Well, as you know, trading has become very popularized. There's a lot of retail traders out there, a lot of idiots with money, some not idiots with money, but still, the market is going to prey on them. And one of the ways it can do that is you have NVIDIA earnings, which is arguably the biggest earnings of the year. Not even arguably, it is. And because it's the biggest earnings of the year, it has the most money riding on it usually as far as bets go for earnings and what it's going to do. And every year is the same thing. I've basically just been sitting back, since years and years ago when I realized how this stuff worked. It doesn't matter what NVIDIA does. So they had a beat, obviously, very good beat. Like we said in the last video, expect that to happen. Expect there to be good guidance. Said both. I said they'd beat, said there'd be good guidance. I'm not even really going to brag about that. It was kind of a no-brainer. But anyway, so what is the market going to do after that, though? It's going to chop because there's so much retail money out there that bet on huge... Here, let me just go to NVIDIA right there. Where is it? NVIDIA. All right. There is going to be mega money, not mega money, but a ton of retail money. Let's zoom out even further here. After this move, yeah, I don't know, initially said red, but it was definitely a beat. I don't know, someone miscalculated it at the start. Look at how compressed that is. So there's going to be mega money, and sorry, again, not mega like as far as funds or anything, but just dumb retail betting on big movements the next day, north or south. They're betting on big up, big down. And they're just betting, a couple hundred, couple thousand, 10,000, for the more rich idiots. And yeah, they're just betting on a big move because they're NVIDIA earnings. So, and they hear all this and they, there's lots of news leading up to it. There's lots of arguably, planted stuff in there about like there being big moves and stuff. It happens every year. And so they always just assume like, oh yeah, well, this is actually, I think, pretty close to within the expected move. So yeah, they just bet on there being a large move up or down. That's it. And so market makers, options makers make a lot of money keeping it within the expected move. So inside, they keep it compressed in a range. And they can do that various ways. One of the which ways, when they're trying to suppress volatility or, suppress, a huge move, is they're going to batter futures. They're going to sell futures like their life depended on it. And boy, did they ever this morning. So you can see actually ES really taking off. ES is not obviously as tech heavy or tech weighted. NQ though, look at this, almost dollar for dollar getting, just volume wise, getting smacked down. And there's really no reason to, but it's definitely just options dealers. That's one of the ways that they can suppress volatility, is they can cap it with futures. So they're just going heavy on selling on NQ probably. to basically compress the move on NVIDIA, but also a lot of people love to do 0DT options on the indexes, QQQ, SPY. And so that is one of the ways that they'll do it for sure. They'll just selling it on futures and, selling the underlying asset just when it comes to options, like anything they can do to suppress volatility, they have lots of tricks up their sleeve. So it makes sense that we're going to get a compressed, like, garbage action to start the day. They're going to make a ton of money by keeping it around here for a while, but eventually that has to give. It can't last forever. They're just doing it to essentially theta decay all the options players. So you don't really need to know what it means, but theta decay, I've mentioned in other videos, is the natural time decay of the premium of the option contract. So depending on the expiry, that changes how much that premium will decay over time. So if the expiry is that day, that theta decay is high. It's going to expire pretty quickly, the premium's going to decay really quickly. So it might be very, very expensive in the morning, and if there's a big move, great, you're going to make lots of money. But if there's not a big move, the longer you hold that thing, the closer it gets to worthless, essentially. They're making a ton of money on the theta decay of the options contracts that all the retail players are betting on for a large up, large down. So how do we avoid this scenario? Basically figuring out if that's going to happen or not. Well, you look at that initial balance. You just got to sit on your hands for a little bit. Just don't click the buttons, and then just watch price. And then if it cannot break out initially of the first 15-minute range, okay, well, that's a good sign that we're looking at some compressed volatility. Now, we already know day after NVIDIA earnings. I just already had this marked out. I was like, I'm not taking any moves too early. I want to see at least a full hour play out. And now we're into lunchtime, and this marks out our lunchbox model. I was a little frustrated because I was waiting for this 4.5 to hit. Excuse me. This is the Asia session SMT. So let me just mark it out. This is Asia session, standard deviation. That's my strategy if you know it. I've mentioned it many times. It took a while to play out, but like we said, the midpoint holds. It just zigzags down. Sorry. Was that London? Oh, that was London. What am I saying? Sorry. London. There we go. So that was a London session SMT with ES. Takes the highs and then just zigzags down. And then I was frustrated. I'm gunning for 369. But sure enough, ES, I should have been quick on the gun. It happened fast, and I was so focused on down here. I wasn't thinking about the 3.5 getting hit. 3.5 doesn't always end up being it, but yeah, what a good reaction. That holds ES, takes the low, and then swing up. So since I wasn't able to get in this move down here, I was like, all right, hands off. I'm not going to do anything. And now I'm just waiting essentially for to see what NQ does from here. So I'm not going to get involved in all this chop. And now we're into lunchtime, and this is where I mark out my lunchbox model. So I'm going to get rid of this just because we already know this is just purely marking out the range of the initial balance, the first hour of trading, right? Okay, so that's done. I'm going to get rid of that too because we don't need that. Lunchbox method. All right, 9:45, first 15 minutes before. I can't remember if in the past I've done first 15 minutes to 15 minutes after, or if I've done 10 minutes. Anyways, it's not that much of a difference, right? It would be about there would be the difference, and then that would really be it. So not much of a difference. I guess I'd like to do just 15 on each side. I find I've noticed that ends up working out better. So as we dipped into here after this initial balance passes, we get into our lunchbox model, basically where the theory behind whenever I break out the strategy is purely if we have not developed a trend by lunchtime. If we've just chopped then I look at this what I call lunchbox. Let me just type it out. Oops. Box. Where did that type? I don't even know. What? Oh, there we go. Lunchbox. There we go. All right, done. Okay, so now I just view this as our new pivot almost. I don't really want to be involved inside this. I'm fine to be involved on a manipulation outside of it if I see a strong move coming after, or I'll just take a breakout. And on this point, I think I'm just going to go with a breakout because this is such a hardly defended line over here with at 630 that or 630s, 640s, that breaking outside of this outside of this lunchbox essentially is at the same time breaking out of the initial balance, and then I'll just look for it to hold. So it's very simply, I'll just look for 640 to hold after it breaks out of there, and then I'll just chase longs. Don't always, if you can't catch the bottom, don't get involved in the middle. Chase once the market has shown you what it's doing. And in this case, yeah, it was again tricky too. Like even as we dove into it, there was heavy selling on NQ. ES was, was selling as well, but you look at the CVD. Like I saw another trader mention that CVD is he's so focused on NQ, which is fair, I guess, if that's what you're trading. But as far as like deciding on where the market's going to go as a whole, seeing NQ about 2K negative, but seeing ES at 10K in the positive, don't be so focused on NQ being 2K negative. Or just in general negative CVD when you have ES just getting bought like crazy. It's just at that point I'm just waiting for this to break out. The things could always change, and we actually could see a large reversion from here. We're just on the cusp. Basically, ES really needs to hold. I would say 77.26 area. If they lose 77.07, which they almost did in the morning, but they held it. That would spell basically danger for buys higher. But yeah, so NQ, still struggling with CVD wise, but it looks like it's starting to even out a little bit. I would also watch this as well. So we had, really aggressive selling here. And then it really started as we just tried to break out and then come back in. Really aggressive selling into the lows. At least tape-wise, it wasn't like a huge amount of volume, but just aggressive nature of it. And then a little consolidation, this 520 area, and then boom. It was just like a rocket ship. And I'm sure a lot of people chased, like somewhere on this leg, but look how thin some of these areas are. So yeah, no surprise it's going to come down. It's probably going to fill some of this out. I don't know if this will hold or, again, if it'll manipulate lower, maybe to 490 or something and then take off. If it is going to go higher, I don't know. But yeah, I think this is really just a waiting game, honestly. And this is just how you conserve capital and just, click the button when the move's happening. But yeah, that's such a good rule of thumb. If we're not outside of the initial balance on whatever you're trading, you don't really want to get involved, and you want to be involved on a manipulation outside of the initial balance. Or just, essentially at the bottom, which would have been the standard deviation entry, had I been watching closer. And then you wouldn't have to really deal with this terrible chop, and you could just be in profit this whole way and watch it slowly climb up and break out. But getting involved anywhere in here, nightmare. So I would just simply just wait for these to break. As we break 640s into the 650s, it's going to be quick. I think that's why it's really once it happens, it's going to it's already starting to motor here. So we're out of the zone for time wise. So right now our box is set. So basically I'll just be watching for a breakout. Very simple. And then I'll probably, if this ends up being kind of the low within the range, if we break out, I'm going to take this light. This is when you're chasing like this, You're going to wait for a break. You're going to essentially want to see a decent closure above there. And then I'm going to enter light, and then I'm going to add in because I think after that it's going to start running. So one thing that we can mark out is the SMT, right, on ES. So ES took out London lows. NQ did not, right? So that is a very, very crucial and important sequential SMT. One thing I love that I just saw when I marked it out, which I'm, now is why I'm very much in the camp of longs. So I mapped that out. Oops, sorry, for the standard deviation. And it held the midpoint and then just continued to hold higher, and then it started to push, hit the 2. It hit just above the 2 with this naked POC, but this actually also never really truly touched the 3 standard deviation from this larger format one, I guess, from before. But it really starts to line up here at the highs. So I'm looking at 77.80 as a possible rejection area. So this one, 4.5, 77.81, 77.80. And that actually lines up really closely with the bottom of this manipulation leg that we started with near these highs, 77.8550. So given that we did not, and look at the lows here that we left. These are a lot of poor lows. I mean, they're bought up heavily, but nothing really decisive for a manipulation. So from here, there's really two directions. Oh, well, sorry, that sounds stupid. There's 2 ways you could look at this. I would look for, I said, I think I mentioned if 77.40 breaks, do not short anywhere in this area until we get to like here, 77.80. Like anywhere from like 77.40 to 77.80, I would stay away. 77.80, I believe, will be getting retested. And from there, I would look for a real swift rejection and then lower. And then I think that's going to lead us into our next month. So what I think is going to happen, sorry, I don't want to, there's a lot of stuff on here, so I want to get rid of some of this. That played out, done, that's done, done there, and done there. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so you're not looking at too many things. So what I think is going to happen, wait, let me just check because I need to figure out if I'm going to, we're getting there. It's trying. What I think is going to happen is, essentially, and this is total hypothesis, right? Like, don't quote me on this. Don't, take out a loan or anything. But I think 77.80 likely. I think this is going to be a clear manipulation. I think what we're going to see, even if you were to map it out, let's do this real quick. Just on the fib, let's just go highs to lows. Nothing fancy, just highs to lows. Huh, man. Oh, God. Is that too perfect? I don't know. Golden pocket also right there. So that is very clearly a good spot for us to also reject and go lower. I think this is going to be a straight up manipulation into the highs. We're going to rock it up. This is off NVIDIA earnings. Everything's so good. But what do we still have? Tariffs, Canada, war, Iran, Strait of Hormuz closed. There's lots of stuff. There's some things in the news cycle that could easily just then be like, down. And I think this market is going to do some really tricky stuff just because they are really trying to juke everyone out. If this was Biden era, this would be a lot more simple. But right now, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the influx of retail traders because of prop firms and stuff. I don't know. But I think we're going to essentially manipulate into 77.80. I think everyone's going to be gunning for these all-time highs. Everyone will be looking at highs on NQ, on ES, being like, oh, easy, we're going higher. And I think because we're going into the end of the month, I do believe September is going to be a bullish month, but in order for it to be a bullish month, generally, with the exception of August, obviously, just think open, low, high, close, if it's going to be bullish, right? So what I think is going to happen from there is we're going to actually open lower, like I've, literally have an arrow pointing there. And I think it's going to be I don't know how deep we'll go. We might actually only go to like that area. I don't know. Wait, where is the midway point? Oh, okay, so midpoint is 75.80. So honestly, yeah, 75.80, 75.70 could really see. And yeah, that would, if we reject off of 77.80, then I will count for us on hitting the rest of this, like a typical roadmap for standard deviation. You go through the first bit, come retest, and then you go for the full extension kinda. So anywhere around here, yeah, it could get all the way to 75.70. That would be really, really deep, and that would, I think if this happens swiftly too, like if we start off the month and it's like boom, boom, like in 2 days, you get a VIX spike. There is still that huge VIX call option out there. That would satisfy a lot of things, essentially. It would really just make sense. So yeah, I think that is likely what could happen. Just sell, even maybe if we get up to this area and reject tomorrow, or overnight or whatever, and then start out the month and we're just like Armageddon, everyone's panicking as we're like down there, and then that ends up being some type of interim bottom, and then we're off to the races again, off into 8,000s. Because I just, like I've said before, there's things, still have not seen proof of this market having topped. If we do lose 75.70, 75.40 area, then okay, we're actually just going to nuke quite a bit lower. I think, oh God, I'd have to go back into memory at that point to see where it would be at that point. But yeah, anyways, that's what I'm picturing essentially for macro time wise. Just I'll spell it out again. I think we're just going to get up here to this area, 75.80. And then I think we're just going to nuke down into the start of the next month. And I think at that point, that'll be your actual kind of typical double manipulation, where everyone's expecting us to just like, everyone is expecting if we're going to go up, they're expecting from here for us to just go meh, and then up kind of thing, right? No, this market is too clever for that. So I think it would make the most sense is if we essentially double manipulate kind of the midpoint of this range, get a lot of people excited about the highs, absolutely torch them, dump into these lows, get everyone thinking it's Armageddon, this market's cooked, and then rocket up. Again, I like getting excited about a hypothesis, but I could be totally wrong. I have no idea. But that is just, it would just make so many things line up if it does that. Like it just makes sense, right? So that is that. That is my prediction. We shall see. I do not know. Yeah. And then now let's dive back in. Normally I'm doing these like after the session, so yeah, it's getting close. It's getting very close. That's what I want to see. CVD is climbing. All right, I'm going to go spicy in with just literally 1 micro. 1 micro, that is all for now. I'll add aggressively above if we hold. But right now, look, because as we get into the highs here, you can see just defended. Look at defended. You can see just those darker bolden areas. It's just there's someone throwing in a bunch of contracts, position, then selling off kind of thing. But you never really see CVD like fully plummet. Like it doesn't get too crazy. But now we're seeing a little bit of a reversal here in CVD. So I really want to see this start rocketing. If we get CVD like into like 1K, like into the positives, I'll hold this thing till the very end of the day, and there we go. ES is starting to break out again. See, initial balance. There we go, starting to break. So this is my first entry. What do I get here? Got just literally just shy. I'll go like that. Yeah, I don't really want to be above. I view this as kind of your breakaway block. I don't know, whatever you call it, ICT terms, but anyways, that is essentially, what would you call it? I'm trying to think of like the proper lingo. Basically an aggressive rebid. So order flow terms. Breakaway kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see. Now we're trying to break out of balance right now. We've broken already out of my little lunchbox area. So now I want to hold it. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, do I want to go? No, I mean, it's 1 micro, but so I could go, no. I'll just re-enter. It's a thing, you know, and instead of a fat stop, I think that's another thing. I realized a lot of people, I used to do this all the time too. Where was I used to do this all the time. I used to, I would have like a larger stop. And I realized it was like my ego. It was like, oh, so I'm still right. There we go, breaking out. All right, I'm gonna add one more. Add one more, all right. So I'm 2 micros in, very chill, you know. Didn't have to deal with any of that crap because I missed my little bottom tick entry there that I would have wanted, which I could have just then stopped in profit and gone about my day. So I had to watch this whole session. But yeah. Anyways, let's just see it continue to break. I think once it breaks 680s area, I think that's where there's a lot of stacked highs, right? Yeah, look at this 685 area. I think it goes quick after that. I'm basically targeting this previous month mid, previous week mid. I think would be a good area to target. That was a strong look at the ES's rejection. That was literally your overnight rejection all the way into New York session. You could have held that the whole way through. I mean, that would have been a nightmare to hold, but yeah, anyways. So yeah, I think that's a good target. It's just over 100 points. I'll add a couple, yeah. Okay, I'm adding one more. Add one more. Okay, 3 micros. Technically, it's like there now. Yeah, so we'll see. Ooh, I see that was on the 1 minute. This is the 5, 7. Let's go back and let me look at this. I was too busy making this video and, you know, talking about everything. I wasn't really watching the tape as it came in. Yeah. Don't want to be below 9.5. 90 to be safe. So that is a 40 point stop. But again, 3 micros, right? I'm chilling. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this continues to break. They've just absolutely diced everyone into absolute anarchy. I'm sure a lot of blown accounts, a lot of people losing their minds, a lot of your typical like, oh, NY session is cooked. Just you wait, brother. Just you wait until the fall. The market loves to do that. You know, right now, Asia and London, you know, moving pretty cleanly for the most part. You'll get a bunch of people, oh no, you need to trade Asia. And then Asia will just be chopped and then all the moves will come during New York. You know, it's just, you just got to be aware. I think I've said this in other videos. Look for periods of consolidation, look for manipulation, and then try and be involved on the distribution leg. Very simple. So you can even look at that as session to session, right? So there was definitely a leg of distribution, right? So you see, look at this. Here is like, this might even be a picture perfect. I've seen it before. What do they call it? Search, seek, and destroy, blah, 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 like daily profile. Look at that. That's just your accumulation zone. I think there's a manipulation. There's an SMT somewhere here. I can't remember where. Anyways, distributes right there, unless we were calling that, you know, kind of the manipulation, like accumulation, manipulation. I don't know, something like that. But anyways, yeah, so there's your distribution leg. And then what do you get? Accumulation. And then ES makes the lower low. right? On ES, right there. Manipulation, chop, but distribution eventually is what we're looking for. So I am going to wait for it to distribute, which it looks like it's doing. 648, there we go, continuing to go. Thank the Lord, I have my lunchbox model. Let's take a look here. I think we largely, it's very possible. There's a lot of bearish put options out there. A lot of flow, basically. That is like millions and millions that are, showing large downside. So, this could really just rip to the highs. I don't believe it. I don't see it. But it's possible. Again, there's so much put volume kind of out there. There's like just so much money betting on downside. We could get another gamma squeeze, and that would just catch everyone offside. Imagine another start to the month where it just goes straight up. That'd be crazy. But yeah, no, I'm still wary of these VIX calls. Anytime there's a VIX call, like I'm hesitant to I'd almost trust it with my life kind of thing. Like they usually work out. Those VIX players seem to be like Trump's right-hand men or something. Like they just always have the inside scoop. Where are we at here? 31 minutes. Yeah, this is different from the other videos. Now we're actually watching a trade play out live. Let's see, we can monitor the tape together. You can see, look at this, CVD still climbing, breaking out. So I've just added this recently because I saw, what's his name, Valentino, I don't know, one of the co-creators of Deep Charts, I think, but he had it on his chart, and I was like, why don't I have that? Yeah, it looks handy, because it's Delta, and I love watching Delta, and I like the way it moves. I like the way it shows you like the aggression basically from both sides. So yeah, I've added this. This just is another representation of Delta, but like per candle almost, not CVD is obviously aggregate, so over the session. But this is just per candle, per 5-minute candle in this case. And it will show you basically the aggression, how it plays out. So you'll see almost like candlesticks, right? So you'll see like wicks basically where you can see there was an attempt, but then, overall aggression on the one side won, and then you can still at the same time pair it with price, right? So yeah, look, now CBD is starting to break out. There we go. Do I want to add one more? It's a little dicey here. I don't know. We're going to break these highs and then it's going to retrace or something. I think after it holds 680s, like once we hit 680s and then we see a little bit of like consolidation here. Oh, like once it breaks, too far, like into there, and we see a little bit of chop. Maybe here, if I see it holding, then I'll add one more. Kind of just assume that this turns into an end of day trend. Look at ES is like already trending. ES is already giving it away. Like if the market was going to tank, ES would have shown you by now. Tech is bullish right now, right? Think about that. What we just saw with NVIDIA earnings, like, the AI trade is not over. So tech has, theoretically should have more buyers on its side. ES is already taken off. ES is already like, la da da, here we go, kind of thing. NQ is just getting slowed up by these freaking market makers who just are determined to wreck everyone's day. They do not want to let it get away from them, at least too early. Eventually they will let it go, but they're gonna take as much money as they can. Look at that, NVIDIA too. Initial balance right there. Trust it with your life. Yeah, so you see a little breakout attempt, come back in, breakout, hold, trend, done. There you go. Could have saved yourself an immense amount of theta decay. Probably got options for way cheaper than they were trading for in the morning, for sure. And then, yeah, just catch a little trend there. Should continue. Yeah, so it'll be very interesting if we hit it. I don't think we'll get all the way up there today. That would be impressive if we did, but I doubt it. But it's possible. And then your typical Friday mean reversion. You'll have, I actually might, Warsh is speaking tomorrow. Ooh, yeah, I don't think I'll trade tomorrow. I don't trust that guy. Warsh is speaking tomorrow, so maybe just go touch grass, go to the gym, go golfing. Because we could see it reach all the way up here today on a late day trend, and then choppy maybe start to fall by the end of the day tomorrow. I think the morning will be really choppy with Warsh speaking tomorrow, so might be another nightmare opening session. Maybe we just want to sleep in and then catch a trade later on in the day if you're in North America. But I do think we're going to the end of the month. Also risky, Friday, end of the month. Ooh, yeah, you're statistically, you never know. Sometimes there'll be good days. You don't know. But statistically, you're going to save money long term by not trading end of month Fridays. That is chop zone. I mean, I would just play it very simply, mark out the initial balance tomorrow. And whenever we officially break out of it, take a trade. Don't take a trade inside that initial hour balance. I don't think. I think it's no good unless there's news and we just start absolutely dumping tomorrow. But again, I think that's going to be saved for next week. We'll probably get some bearish news over the weekend, and then they'll get maybe gap down. It's going to be freaking gaps everywhere. I don't know, something like that. I'm really just not sure. But I'm freaking jacked to the tits. You seen The Big Short? It's one of my favorite lines. Fucking rejection zone. Rejection zone. Why? Where? Oh, there we go. I was like, why is this disappearing? Okay, that's gonna go not long enough. Reject, and then if we hold, then could continue higher. I guess got to game out multiple areas, right? Could reject there, and then from there could hold, and then continue higher. I mean, everyone and their mom is staring at these lows, salivating, being like, oh my God, I want to be fully sized whenever that day comes, right? So that it's going to get hit eventually. I just don't know. Maybe too many people are shorting, then we just squeeze higher, and then this gets hit freaking 2 months from now. I don't know. I think this is key area, 77.80, 77.85. Anywhere in there, look for a strong rejection. Could we go to the midpoint? Is that possible oh no, the midpoint is all the way up. 78.12. Once we start flipping 78.12, I'd say your GG's for higher. I think this is the zone that's going to reject from. Right here. How are we doing? All right. Still trying to break out of this freaking initial. Jesus Christ. Come on. Now ES is... now some people are like, whoa, chill. We bought a lot of ES contracts today. Wow. It's still going to break out. I have faith. Finally breaking out. Lunchbox model, man. Freaking, I gotta back test the success rate of that. I got it from another trader, and he's just a really good trader. So I was like, I respect it. I don't need to go and back test on my own. And if this guy's using it, we're chilling. His name's Heck, if you care. But anyways, so if if I go back, I'm sure, yeah, I'd love to see like the overall success rate of it. Again, the stipulations for the lunchbox are, I think I used to do 10 minutes. I don't know, 15 minutes before the start of lunchtime, which is, for me, is 9:45 a.m. because I'm Mountain Standard Time, to 15 minutes into lunchtime, 10:15 Mountain Standard Time. So obviously 12:15 Eastern Time. There, you mark out that range. That is your new kind of like almost like orb. If you think about it, you could just, if you're having trouble like relating it to something, yeah, it's like basically treat it like an opening range breakout, or just treat it like an opening range that, you know, I've seen it before where it'll be like smaller than this. There'll be like a manipulation into a key level outside of it, and then it'll rip across. So if you see that, if you see manipulation outside, and then you start seeing like gaps being made as it's going to the other side, consider yourself manipulated, and it is ripping to the other side, and then it's going to distribute that way. But yeah, slowly but surely. It's, yeah, tough. I'm basically like, as far as TPs on this, I'm just going to watch ES, because I really want ES to essentially hit at minimum 77.63. Honestly, yeah, 77.70, good for me. At that point, if it hits there today, I will like fully exit, because I don't know where that'll be on NQ. But just like looking at NQ, what I would really hope for an end of day trend target would be 77. Yeah, sorry, previous week mid 29,772.50. Pretty happy with that. You know, that's $600 times, we're working with 3 accounts right now, so pretty good. All right, well, I don't want to ramble on while we just watch this trade play out, considering I'm just gonna like upload this video. Yeah, I guess just watch, see if this plays out. You know, we'll see. I'll upload this video, and then we will see if the trade ended up playing out or not, or if it just came back in the range. But no, from all my experience, tells me that we will break out near the end of the day today, and then we'll start ripping. So I really do want to hold this position like probably till the end of the day, as we, you know, head up to these levels on ES. All right, I think that's all for now. Longer video, but I think lots of good info in there. Did I mention why I marked that out? 5 minute, yeah, right. ES, lower low right there. SMT, 5 minute swing high to low, right, like this. And then that gives you your projections up there, right? Pretty simple. Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop yapping and we get on with my day. Yo. All right, just want to chime back in before I post the video. I'll just attach this onto the end. Yep, got stopped. That's karma for you. It was running nicely, and then as I finished the video, it started turning around, so I didn't even have time to like edit or anything, and I had to watch. And yeah, I took partials up here because you see I mentioned too in the chat, I said eyes on price because CVD just started crashing on ES. And I just said it just got cut in half. So yeah, I took 50% out there. Didn't move my stops, however, because I was just hoping that, you know, I just was viewing this as, okay, this is what typically happens. You know, sure, there's a lot of chop, but then we, you know, there was even an attempt at breaking out of the IB for NQ, came back in, but then we have a really strong move up, really nice retest and breakout. So at that point, you know, it should just be like, yeah, we're cooking. So I just expected to retest and then come back in. But of course, evil market makers, I guess even they know that would be the expectation. So yeah, anyways, they just rip it back in there, back into balance. Once it broke 90s, I think, I was like, my stop got hit. So that was a nothing burger trade for me. And I just said, I'm just going to watch until the end of the day. I said probably like 3 times today that I expected the move to come in the last half hour. So for anyone that was listening, I mean, look at that, literally well, for me, it's 1:30, 3:30, I guess, excuse me, Eastern time. So yeah, that was just pretty straight up at that point. Literally just started breaking out right from there, and CVD is just ripping. Big swing. So CVD goes back from flat at the bottom there on ES. So see, it's really just goes flat and then it starts climbing. It just climbs into the end. NQ is just climbing literally from the morning. And yeah, I was saying that as this move came down, I was saying the sellers are aggressive, but they don't have volume on their side. So this telling me that this move wouldn't continue. I did get a little freaked out there when I saw this dip right here. That was, 500 sells, but that was just turned out to be your exact capitulation that you needed. Oops. Oh, it's just because the market's done. Yeah, so that was the capitulation right there. And you see what you see, two aggressive stacked buyers right there. It's a little stacked imbalance. It's what I would consider a gap, even though people would, it's not ICT's traditional gap, but stacked imbalance right there, and it defends beautifully. Doesn't even really get tested, just barely there. And then gets a little close, and then from there, it's just done deal. Just a slow grind until it wasn't, then it just started rocketing at that point. Then you see that buyers really, when they wanted to, they were able to push, which was really just, buyers make multiple attempts. They can tell that basically market makers are against them. So yeah, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of buying going on, but market makers are doing everything they can to suppress the volume. And if that's the case, if you're a buyer, if you can tell the market's against you, you're gonna stop buying. You're just gonna be like, all right, I'm good here. I'll wait. I'll wait it out, kind of thing. So then they could tell, yeah, sure enough, we're gonna wait till the very end of the day. Market makers take their foot off the brake, and then boom, just rocket into the end. So I know frustrating for a lot of people. This was a very rare chopped Thursday of nothingness after we see a gap up. Again, very typical of earnings. So from here, so yeah, there's a bunch of things. So they definitely purposely closed it like this. ES not making a new high, NQ making a new high, to make people right away just go, oh, I'm not even going to circle it because I don't want to, just someone to see that and just even give them an inkling of the wrong impression. When they do that into close, it's usually just some form of manipulation of like, oh yeah, look, SMT, take it lower, it'll go lower, kind of thing. So you'll have right out of Globex open, they'll probably do some fake out that's going to go lower. You're going to have everyone coming in saying, oh, SMT between two, and we're going to get low, and we might get as low as 77.11. I would prefer for this golden pocket to hold at 77.20 area on ES. I don't know on NQ, we'll have to see. But yeah, so assuming that level holds right there, and then we will probably just again chop from there. Chop, maybe slightly upwards. Tough to say, really, if we will continue up tomorrow into this level. As the start of this video, as you heard, I am really, really excited for this level. I don't know if it's going to get hit tomorrow or if it's going to be Sunday, if it's going to be Monday. What I'm thinking, if it hits tomorrow, great. Freaking, well-deserved if you still have bullets in the chamber from this week. Take it, sell it for all it's worth. That'd be a huge day, make up for the whole week if you've had some losses. And yeah, you just bank and that'll be great. And then you're chilling, then off to a great weekend. However, if we're nowhere near this level tomorrow, I would stay away. If we're just in this balance range, I would just take an early weekend, go golfing, go to the gym, be outside, hang with friends, hang with family, do anything else, but have a blow-up day, to ruin your weekend. But yeah, if we're up there tomorrow, take it, sell it. What I should say, NFA, I'm not telling you what to do. Any trades you make are at your own risk, but this is what I will be doing. Likely. I'll just look for proof, obviously. I want it to hit at the correct time. If it doesn't hit at the correct time, I'll expect New York to come up and retest it. Having said that, I do really want New York to sell from here. But if it hits at like a London session, like kill zone area, I'll take it. As long as I see what I need to see on the tape. It can come up, reject, retest, maybe retest once more. That would be crazy. But and then finally sell. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I would just don't be active in this region. even taking a long from lower, like, just debatable. You don't know what you're running into. You don't know what the plan is. I find it's way easier to, generally when you have these thick areas of balance, you don't really want to be in a trade within balance. This is why I like going for like, everyone says, oh, don't bottom tick or top tick. Like, yeah, okay. Within reason though. If you look at, oops, I had it earlier, right? Standard deviation from London session. I had it earlier. I was frustrated. I didn't take it. I was so focused on the 4.5 below. Didn't even realize that ES had already taken the low. Yeah, like, hello, right there. Boom, 3.5 lined up perfectly. Yeah, it's just like it just made total sense. Had I taken that, I wouldn't have to worry about any of this crap, If it goes lower than that, great. I'd try one more bullet down here because we're severely out of this balance. So it makes sense that either we're nuking at that point, and I'm just horribly wrong, or we're going to mean revert back in this range, in which case that's a lot of profit, or we're going to go into the distribute higher, and that's a ton of profit. So yeah, I don't know. This is why I use standard deviations to get kind of sniper entries, because I don't want to have to deal with this crappy chop balance kind of thing. Already today, just me having to chase price, I got stopped out there, and then one successful trade after that. But when I just thought about, oh, that would have been so easy, would have just taken partial, put stops break even, and just let this trade freaking run all day and go about my day. Instead, I had to watch this all day. It was garbage. So yeah, say what you will, but I prefer not to get active in that craps kind of thing. But yeah, so I think I don't know if you really want to take longs down there, but I would just get active up there. Pretty simple game plan, I think. So for tomorrow, what I will be doing, do what you want, copy me if you want. I will get active in 2 areas. Three areas. If I see at we're talking Asia Open, right? If I see Asia Open and we hit some lows down here, let's say we create the initial balance Asia Open, we manipulate into like 77.20 area, I'll take it. And I will ride that as a slow burner as long as I can up into these highs right here. Excuse me. 77.80 area. And then I will use that as a connecting flight as long as I see the appropriate reaction at the right time to absolutely slam this down. I don't know. Now, there's many ways this could happen. However we get up there, I don't know. It could be a lot of choppy. That might suck to be in, so maybe just avoid it. If we get here tomorrow, it's very possible that what we do is we just sell into this balance and we just hold. It's very possible we also sell into this balance, we chop, and then the end of the day just absolutely nukes. There are some really large VIX calls that are still in the mix. I think one was like 10 million. So I gotta don't fade those VIX players, man. I swear they're like in the administration or something. Like they know something's coming. So either we get a big sell tomorrow. That would be really nice. Big sell tomorrow, amazing, very welcomed. I will take it all the way down to 75.80, 75.70. Having said that, I think it's more likely that we chop, tomorrow, end of the month, Friday. It's very possible. So I'd be wary of that. That's why I don't really want to get involved in here. I don't want anything kind of pushing me to take any trades. I'd rather just get involved up there. Because the start of the month for September, it could also see us doing, Sunday open, maybe continuing to open this chop and then moving higher, and then just doing like a Black Monday, like 200 point on ES, 1,000 points sell off on NQ type deal. That would be freaking epic. And what a way to start September kind of thing. Not saying it needs to happen Monday. Could happen Tuesday. I don't know. It's a thing. Who knows? That's why it's better to just be active in areas that should get a reaction. You know there's going to be volatility there, so you know you can get active and you'll probably catch something. Your odds probability is way higher up here and down there than it is in here, I'll tell you that. So yeah, I think it's either, I don't care really when it is, what day it is. It could be tomorrow, it could be Sunday, it could be Monday. If we get up here and I see the appropriate reaction, I'll be a seller up there. Again, and then later after that, whatever day it is, maybe it's next Thursday, maybe it's the week after, and we're down there, I'll be a buyer around there, 75.70, as long as I see that area hold. If it flips for lower, then nuke the market. We're going down. It's going to be pretty big, but I'm still in the camp of manipulate both sides, and then continue on up to the 8,000s. Final stage blow off top. Really, just get everyone really giddy about this market and just can't go down no matter what type deal. That would just really, that's such a typical manipulation, like a true manipulation manipulates both sides. So that's why I could see us manipulating the highs, manipulating the lows, and then taking off type deal. So yeah, we'll see. Again, I'm not going to be too married to this. I'm going to try not to. I'm just ready for it if it presents. If we want to just lose levels from here and continue nuke, be my guest. I will take it. I'll take a flip. If 76.95 area, if that flips, this area right here, I would say 76.90. If that flips, then just it's gone. Then take it down to 75.70. Then we're in gap down territory. But yeah, I just don't see that happening. Anyways, I think that's everything that you need to know. So take care, trade safe. Yeah, again, if we're in this range, take an early weekend, hang out with humans. All right, okay, take care, bye.